Married people of Reddit, what's one thing you didn't learn about your spouse until after your wedding day? My mom found out my dad was a compulsive liar when his twin sister didn't show up to their wedding. When questioned about it, he said she must have imagined the dozens of stories he had told about his twin sister. He is an only child. She makes PB&J sandwiches by mixing the PB&J in a separate bowl before spreading it on the bread. Pure savagery. Thanks for the silver, stranger. I discovered my wife is a hoarder and doesn't want to throw anything away. She's gotten better over the years, but it's still an issue. He dunks his Oreos in water instead of milk. I still don't know why. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect so many people to have opinions about Oreos. I'm glad I'm not the only one who is horrified by this. Thanks for the silver. To answer a few questions. No, he is not lactose intolerant. And no, he wasn't poor growing up. He's not a vegan. And we had milk in the house when I caught him doing this. He just prefers to dunk his Oreos in water. My wife cannot read an analog watch clock for time. Married 4 years. Been together 7 years total. And somehow that came up only a month ago when I asked for the time off a watch during a power outage. I don't give her a hard time about it. But that was a fun fact to learn. She's always leaving the lids on everything unscrewed. And guess who is always breaking jars because he always picks a verting thing up using the lid? She's a great swimmer. One day, after we'd been married for about 7 years, we joined a gym with a swimming pool. She challenged me to a race. Okay, I thought, I'm a pretty good swimmer. I was surprised when she offered me a half-length head start, and then doubly surprised when despite my massive head start she beat me easily. Apparently she used to be a competition swimmer at school. She's basically half dolphin, but she never happened to mention it before. My wife is allergic to all artificial sweeteners. During the second night of our honeymoon we decided to stay in and get some takeout. My beverage of choice at the time was Crystal Light Raspberry Ice, which contains aspartame. While we were eating she wasn't thinking and she asked for a sip. About 5 minutes later she became extremely ill and started having issues breathing. After a few minutes she read the ingredients on my beverage and yelled at me, I am allergic to aspartame. Me, being the loving new husband I am, yelled back, since when? You never told Emmy that. She never bothered to tell me because she grew up in a household with no artificial sweeteners because she was allergic. Edit. Not changing the original text, but looking back, using the word allergic may have been a misnomer. She is allergic to aspartame but only intolerant to other artificial sweeteners. The level of intolerance varies greatly, so we just avoid it altogether. He absolutely cannot be trusted with desserts in the house. Back when we were engaged he'd give me time to eat my half of the ice cream or Oreo package or whatever we had on hand. Now, I'm sitting here eating Thin Mints from a stash from under frozen veggies in our outside freezer. A friend of mine eventually told his now wife that he didn't actually know French. He had been teaching her gibberish phrases. How insane his mother is. He was clear that they had a difficult relationship when he was growing up and that he is really close with his dad because of her behavior. Since we've been married she's been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and her health professionals say it's likely she has genetic degenerative neurology, Huntington's. Just how much she really loves Christmas. We lived together before we were married, and it wasn't that bad. But the moment we said I do, it changed. Now, she starts the Christmas train in ducking October. I'm talking the tree, garland and goddamn Michael bubble. When I asked her about this, she said, oh, we're married now, so you have to like this too. Purely joking, but damn. Not me, but my mom found out decades later my dad was married when he married her. So yeah, my dad's a bigamist. My husband and I dated for 3 years before we got married. After more than a year of marriage, he let slip that he is lactose intolerant. He knew that I absolutely love ice cream and we would frequently get ice cream on our dates. But he never wanted me to know about the lactose intolerance so that I could be happy with my ice cream. That he can't put it back where it goes, ever. And oh yeah, he shot a guy once. Update. Wow. I had no idea this many people would even see my answer. Thanks for the silver and the hilarious responses. He is over here laughing and unarmed. Short explanation is that he was assaulted outside a bar. Guy pulled a gun. He took it away and popped the guy in the leg. My husband actually is a veteran but thankfully spent most of his service time on a ship working on airplanes. He never saw any action or had to fire any weapons outside of training. And the bar was not in Reno. Lol. My wife can't whistle, and she's never had a sloppy joe. She is a bit of a genius when it comes to finances. No complaints. She procrastinates cleaning until the task becomes unnecessarily difficult, which means she takes forever to clean, which means she hates cleaning, which makes her procrastinate. She also talks in her sleep, and that can be pretty funny sometimes. If my pants have 2 holes in them, why are 3 parts of me tired? Edit. Yay. Gold and silver. He'd never been to a funeral. It didn't come up until we had to attend one and he had questions. We were both on the same page in a newspaper. It was found a couple years after we were married. Been together 20 years. Married for 17. I've been telling the same dad joke since I was about 17. Whenever someone says something was intense I always respond with like the circus. My wife has been rolling her eyes at it for nearly 20 years, until about 6 months ago. I gave my lame response to her, but instead of rolling her eyes at me they got really big, like I saw the light bulb go off. Then she chuckled. She never got the joke until then. That he would make a fantastic father. What an absolute goofball he was. He was always so serious when we were dating. Now he can't carry on a serious conversation. Definitely some pros and cons there. He likes to eat fish. Somehow in our 6 years of dating, I got it into my head that he didn't like to eat seafood. My parents would cook dinner and invite him, and I'd constantly tell my mom, no, can you make something else? He doesn't eat fish. My husband loves most seafood, with the singular, random exception of coconut shrimp. We joke about that to this day, that I unintentionally kept him from some of his favorite foods without so much as a conversation about it. That's a light-hearted answer. I'm sure there are many more. 11 years in and we are still learning things about one another. Contrary to what my ex-wife said when we were dating, I learned she believed that 6 was just for making kids. I'm happily divorced now, almost 12 years now that I do the math. But after we got married I learned that she viewed her money as her money and my money as our money. Which was interesting because before we got married my money was our money and she didn't have money to speak of. Not that I was even making good money. But after we got married she got a well-paying job and suddenly her money was hers and mine wasn't mine. It didn't last long after that. She farts. She had always farted around me. No big deal. Usually she kept it to little toots unless she was sick or drunk, then it would be loud like mine. I don't mind its nature, but holy duck, she unleashed an ass trumpet that would put college marching bands to shame. She can be across the house and I can hear her ass. His addiction to cars. I never knew how much he really enjoyed until after we got married. She changed a whole lot after the wedding. From wanting kids to not. From hating her parents and the way they treated other people to siding with them. Her mom was a nurse who constantly talked about patients negatively and her dad was an entitled business owner who tried to run people off the road constantly. Awful road rage. They both were the type of Christians that give the whole religion a bad name. She ended up remarrying one of my old college buddies shortly after the divorce. She liked to poop with the door open. My husband loves telling this story. He is a big meat and potatoes guy. On our honeymoon, I told him that I was becoming vegetarian. It was something I'd been thinking about for a while and couldn't implement well while living with my parents. When we got back from vacation, we fell into a routine where I did all the cooking. Turns out that he is lazier about cooking than he likes eating meat. Also, it turns out I'm a pretty good vegetarian cook. He now eats vegetarian whenever we're at home, and gets meat at restaurants when he goes out with his friends. He's totally happy with it. Truly, it has been 10 years. He's the best. My wife informed me that she could not have children after we got married. This made me sad. Being able to prove her wrong made me happy. My husband completely undresses from the waist down to go number 2. He says he needs the freedom. That she was adopted. In fairness, she didn't know either. Not me, but my mom. She found out that my dad already had a kid when they got married. That he lives and breathes sports. I knew he liked sports when we were dating, but I didn't realize that's all he liked. I didn't know he would rather watch football games on Sundays than go to family dinners or anywhere else. I didn't realize he wouldn't want to watch anything but sports on TV. I didn't know that he would want to play or watch basketball, football, baseball, golf every waking moment. I didn't know he would prefer sports to sex. I was gobsmacked. That she sneezes like she trying to scare the it out of you. Scream sneeze. I'm still not used to it now. 10 years later. Duck. It's loud as hell. Our poor daughter gets scared and says, "Mommy, you're too loud." But in public she can hold it back. He's really good at doing household chores. Between us, I do all the cooking and he cleans up. He even makes sure the cutlery air dries on a cloth before wiping down the water stains. He developed a cleaning procedure to make sure the black marble kitchen top is spotless. He never ever leaves the dishes for the next day no matter how late the dinner ends, which can be really late when we entertain guests. Also, he has a fondness for the latest household gadgets. The robotic vacuum cleaner was a really good buy. Now he's eyeing an electric lock so we will never need to carry our keys again. She leaves a few seconds on the microwave. There's only so many times a guy can ask her to press the clear button. It's even the same as the stop button. Just press it twice. I wouldn't be surprised if she tortured animals as a child. She's a savage. That I am solely responsible for her dreams. And I don't mean the want to have kids one day kind. Have those. I mean the type where she wakes me at 3 AM and begins the conversation with "You wouldn't let me have the ducking window seat because apparently in her dream I wouldn't swap seats with her on the plane." She was mad at me for at least a week. This sort of thing has happened a few times. That he plays video games for 10-15 hours a day, even when he married, and his kids, and has a full-time job. With marriage counseling he cut back to 5 hours a day. It's now, year 22, back up to about 7 hours a day on weekdays. I never knew marriage was going to be this lonely. She often shoots a thin stream of saliva out of her mouth when she yawns. Apparently she more consciously covered her mouth beforehand. My ex told me his middle name was James. I saw afterwards on his driver's license that it was John. He would lie about random stuff all the time, for no good reason. She owns Hanson's entire discography. My wife hates lime flavored things. She is fine with lemon though. Not me, but my parents. My mom learned that my dad was into some heavy debt after the wedding, literally like a week after, and she also learned that he was never going to give up his bachelor life for a more stable family life, even though he had a wife and child. Happy times, this family. Unless asked specifically to do something around the house, wife won't do it, with rare exceptions. Like she doesn't get mad when I'll ask her to clean or do dishes or anything. She just doesn't think about it. Not me but my mom. She found out my dad was extremely addicted to porn. They worked really hard to overcome it. She's only mentioned it once but I got the feeling it was super hard for her to decide to stay. Edit. I get it. My choice of words wasn't the best. That my husband's anxiety is as bad as my own. It's actually refreshing because we know exactly how to help each other out when the other one's anxiety gets bad. Sleep apnea machines are really annoying to sleep beside. Edit. Thanks for everyone responding. I was referring to the original CPAP when we first got married, 10 years ago, which was like listening to a truck every night. We have upgraded since then and it's very quiet. You can't even tell it's on. Resm 10 Cloud. My husband doesn't like the smell of old books. I grew up loving old libraries and old books. He can't stand them. It was a gradual realization, not a dramatic reveal. Also, And much bigger is that he has no conflict resolution skills. 20 years of marriage and we've never actually resolved an argument. We just wait until I quit being mad long enough to have lots of sex and we're good until the next argument. The times we've tried to work through things always made it worse. At least we still have great sex. That she actually wouldn't do anything about her mental health issues. The flare-ups were just far enough apart to think things were getting better. Then no. We had kids not too long after getting married. So there was the element of staying for the kids. Staying for the warped belief she could get better. Nearly 14 years. I've been a full-time single dad for 3 years now. Life is great on the other side of divorce and my kids are thriving and happy. For whatever it's worth. It's not anyone's fault to have mental illness, but doing something about it is their responsibility. He has aphantasia. It's a neurological condition where you can't recall memories as pictures or create images in your mind. He cannot and has never been able to picture what he is reading in a book or say, conjure an image of a forest or person in his mind. He can't imagine my face when I'm not there, though it's not like he forgets it. I'm the total opposite and always picture everything in my mind. I'm an artist and my job would be hard if I couldn't, so to me it's like in a way he's blind. It's just a different way of experiencing life, I guess. But I was really sad for him when I found out. We lived together before we got married, so no surprises like how he kept his toothpaste or anything. Horribly and weirdly squeezes from the middle. We have 2 separate tubes and it's great, lol. She has so many investment inherited properties. Like worth around $5 mil. He's a slob. Apparently, while we were dating he was on his best behavior. But after? Dear God. Clothes everywhere. Hats everywhere. Paper everywhere. He throws dirty clothes next to the hamper. My biggest beef is how he'll just set dirty dishes on the island rather than walk an extra 5 steps to put them in the sink. Also, he loses everything. He's lost so many sunglasses that I had to put my foot down and tell him he can't buy any more. At $200 a pop it ain't happening. He loses his wallet regularly and he had his Apple Watch for maybe 3 months. Once, he lost $300 between work and home. He swears he had it in the car and didn't stop anywhere on the way home. So where it went nobody knows. If I had the money that we've spent on it he's lost in the last 20 years, I could pay cash for a brand new car. Edit. No, he didn't have a drug or gambling problem. I'm 100% sure. He's only lost money that one time and it's most likely because he didn't put it in his wallet. How much I love her. It keeps getting better. Been with my husband for 9 years total. Married for 2. Just last week. Found out he doesn't care for bubble wrap. Capital I. Was shook when I found out. He asked me, why do you think I always gave you the bubble wrap when I had it? Well, it's because I thought you loved me and wanted me to enjoy it more. I feel betrayed. I didn't know how much he really loved me. It gets better all the time. I have a friend who was born and raised in Romania in a relatively poor family. His favorite section of a loaf of bread was the crusts on either end, possibly even his favorite food in general. So when he got married to a woman from Australia, he started leaving the crusts for her because they are the best, so he wanted her to have them. Well, typically in Australia we throw away the end crusts. So when my friend left them she assumed he didn't want them either and threw them away. They were married for years before he caught her tossing them and got confused. We waited 10 years before we tied the knot. The 1st of October of this year, I learned that she is even more beautiful than I thought. I still can't believe how lucky I am. Most of her family used to hate me and her mom even asked her why she settled for me when we were dating. Due to people treating me like that my whole life, I had some really bad depression and anxiety issues. That is, until I met her. Just like a movie, it was love at first sight. We still waited before officially dating, but we were both head over heels in love. She peeled back my emotional armor as easy as pulling the curtains and read me like a book. She says I'm the most wholesome person she has ever met and that's why she loves me. At the same time, she is the most genuine person I have ever met and that's why I love her. We've been madly in love with each other since the beginning, and after we got married the most amazing thing happened. Absolutely nothing. We have not changed at all. We both still look at each other the same way and oogle and flirt with each other like we are a couple of teenagers. We're in our 30s. We've always heard that things change when you get married and it's not for the better. They were so wrong. It all depends on how much effort you put into the relationship. I guarantee you that we will be that old couple wearing the same ugly shirt and holding hands that you sometimes see in the mall. I can only hope that you all find what we have. I'm rooting for you. Be patient. Be honest. Be forgiving. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I hope you all find gold in your future and current partners. Edit 2. I know how annoying it is to read other people thanking everyone for Reddit awards, but I need to give credit where it's due. So thank you everyone for the awards and all the upvotes. My wife has just read all of this and she is crying. Lots of hugs incoming. We both want you to know that you all are amazing and we love the Reddit community in all its chaos. Edit 3. I'm getting so many comments. I'm sorry if I don't respond to you all, but I work nights and I need to sleep now. Thank you everyone for your kind words.